What's going on, guys? My name's Bill and this is Tool Tech Tuesdays. On Tuesday, I like to bring you guys a tool that I've been using in my videos or that I've just been using on projects in and around my garage. If you've been working on things long enough, let's say like old cars, I'm sure you've run into a situation where you gotta put things back together, but the threaded hole is just so rusted, so dirty, full of grease and grime and rust that you just can't get a bolt to thread in. It might start, and then as it runs in, it just gets tight way early. You just can't get anything tightened up because that hole is so fouled up and so full of crud. That's where today's tool comes in. Today's tool is a good set of thread chasers. You could, if you, in a pinch, you could take a bolt, cut some grooves in it, and use that as a thread chaser. You could use a tap, but taps are too aggressive. I mean, these things are meant for cutting holes. And if you're working on, let's say, an aluminum transmission, and you had a hole that you just couldn't get a bolt threaded into, you may not want to run a tap through it because that aluminum is really soft, and that tap, being as aggressive as it is, could really, really mess up that hole. Itchy nose. That's where a good set of thread chasers comes in. I mean, like this hole here, this is a 1/2 by 13, which should be this one here. Now this set is by Lang Tools. It's a 26 piece set. I'll leave a link down below to some different versions. You can get them. This one has all the kind of popular SAE bolt and nut sizes, whether it be coarse thread, fine thread. It's pretty much what I mostly work on, so I have this set. You can get it in metric, all different kinds of flavors out there. I'll leave some links down below. But a good thread chaser, if you compare it to a tap, the threads aren't nearly as aggressive. I mean, it's basically the same as a bolt, maybe a little bit more aggressive than a bolt. And these are meant that as long as you can get the first 2 or 3 threads started, then you could run this down through a hole. It'll clean up the threads if they're rusted, if they're full of grease and dirt. They have it's like a fluted, I guess you basically kind of what I did to this bolt here, where there are notches in the threads, and what those are meant to do is allow or give a place for dirt and rust to kind of move on out of the threads as you thread this in. It's got your standard head on it, larger than a bolt head. So you can get a ratchet on there. You can get, you can get, like a impact driver, although I don't know if I really use an impact to clean threads, like a drill driver, an open end wrench, box end wrench, a ratchet, whatever. And all you do is, you just thread that into the hole, and that'll clean out anything that's in there preventing your bolt from going in. Now, if you can't get this, if you can't get a bolt started, you can't get a thread chaser started because the first few threads are really marred up, maybe really beat up, then yeah, use a tap. Take your tap, start it in the hole. That'll clean up those first few threads, then pull the tap out and follow it with the thread chaser to clean out anything that's in there preventing you from getting your bolt in. So a good set of thread chasers, although it's one of those tools that you may not use all that often in your shop, when you need it, it's invaluable to have at your disposal. And this set, like I said, it's a 26 piece set, so not only does it do, coarse thread, it also does fine thread, and it also does the corresponding bolts. So it's basically the same as a tap and die. It's got your thread chasing tap, your thread chasing die for the bolts. Same thing. You have a bolt that's just old and rusted, needs to be cleaned up. You can take your thread chasing die, you find the right size here, 1/2 by 13. And again, you put that bolt, say clamp it down in a vise, and you can take this, put your wrench on there, and just turn it. And it's the same thing. The threads have notches in them, and that will allow any dirt, grime, rust to be removed from the threads and fall out and clean up your bolt. Pretty simple, guys. Really, really valuable tool to have. Appreciate you for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and get back to work.